fish report. Hanging at the fish report. Hanging at the fish report. Hanging at the fish report. For your latest news in high school sports, tune in to the fish report. Don't need no bed, don't need no pull. When you tune in to the fish report. Hanging at the fish report. Hanging at the fish report. You got Craig and TK and Head that D, tune in at the fish report.
Coming to you live from Studio F in Russia, Ohio. It's the Fish Report Live Show with your hosts, Craig Fissinger and Ken Francis.
Welcome, everyone, to another Fish Report Live. I'm Craig Fissinger. That's Ken Francis. We're your hosts tonight. Back in our sound room. TK's back there, of course, and Heavy D's back from being on vacation last week. Good to have him back, and we're going to be joining those guys here in just a little bit. And Ken, you know, it's always nice to hear back from the viewers, get some viewer feedback, whether it's praise, whether it's criticism. It's always nice to know that people are watching your show. Certainly you and I received our fair share of criticism this past week. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. And then also we're going to have a guest coming up the second half of the show that it's hard to criticize at all because of the success he's been having the last 5 years.
Absolutely, Craig. Really looking forward to talking to the head coach of the defending Division IV state champions in Ohio boys basketball, Tri-Village head basketball coach Josh Sagester. He's, like I said, 2015 state champion. His last 5 seasons, Craig, he's 110 wins and only 7 losses.
Wow.
And he's got a nice team again this year, Craig. Actually had a personal chance to talk to Josh a couple weeks ago, and really looking forward to having him on our show tonight and talking to him in the second half of our show.
Yeah, we'll be getting to that just a little bit. Before we do that, though, just like we do every week, we have a weekly poll question, and tonight's poll question kind of relates to Tri-Village a little bit, doesn't it?
Yes, it does, Craig. Last year, Tri-Village had a memorable season, going a perfect 30-0 and winning the state championship. This year, Craig, Division IV boys appear to be fairly wide open, fairly balanced in the Southwest Regional. Which of the following has the best chance to represent our region in Columbus this March? Is it the Shelby County Athletic League, the CCC/OHC, both with very good teams this year, the Walpock District with some very good basketball teams, or the Cincinnati District? A little bit unknown to us right now, but I'm sure we'll hear a lot more about them in the weeks to come.
That gave us a lot to think about here in the next half hour.
Yes, it is.
All right, well, listen, if you're watching us on the Fish Report Live page, you can help us answer that poll question by scrolling down, giving us your answer. You can check the results out. If you're watching us on NK Telco or GameFace Ohio, we will have those results for you at the end of the show. All right, Ken, time to get to something we like to call Five for Fighting, which basically means I pick 5 subjects. Between you, I, and the sound group guys, we all fight for our opinions on those subjects. And let's check out tonight's topic, see what we got. There they are. We got fan feedback, Game Pass, Rushi D, More or Lessing, and Rocket Power. And we're going to get things started out with fan feedback. And like I mentioned just a few minutes ago, you and I kind of received our fair share of criticism this past week on a few things. And you know, I was actually told by a fan or a viewer of this show that maybe I should start favoring the Rushi girls basketball team a little bit more, that they didn't think I was giving them enough coverage or enough favoritism, and maybe I should talk a little bit less about Fort Laramie basketball, even though the Fort Laramie Redskins are a little bit ahead of Rushi right now in the standings. I know you received some criticism. Speaking of Fort Laramie, you talked about their boys basketball program and kind of talked about their offense a little bit. You received some feedback on that, a little criticism. You know, and if we go back a couple weeks ago, I know TK back there was he was talking about a certain star over in Fairlawn and maybe how she was getting some of her points from some bad officiating. And even Heavy D, who I know everybody loves on this show, I think he was even questioning, maybe criticizing the OHSAA several weeks ago about the disparity between maybe the divisions in football and perhaps golf, cross country, whatever you want to say. But guys, I guess we got to answer to our viewers out there. Do we have an agenda on this show, or you know, why do we make some of the comments we make?
Craig, I'll jump on that one first. And absolutely no, we do not have an agenda on this show. You know, we're a talk show. We're no different than the talk shows that you watch on the news every day, whether it's about sports or news or travel or cooking or whatever it might be. You know, we appreciate all of our student athletes that participate in our show. We appreciate the coaches, the administration, the athletic directors. But, you know, it's an opinion show. We're here to talk about different topics. We express our opinion. You might agree with us one week. You might disagree with us this following week. But, that's what talk shows are all about, and that's what the Fish Report is.
I'll tell you what, I was talking to my wife, Foxy, tonight, and she recommended that we not be so harsh. I'm like, well, sometimes the truth hurts, but the nice thing is the fans do have the opportunity to chime back in. It's kind of like the letter to the editor. If you don't like what you're publishing, you better, that's the way it goes. You're going to get some feedback on it.
That's right.
I figure you give me 3 minutes on a Wednesday night, I got to say something. So whatever comes out, and we'll figure it out later.
Well, guys, I'll use a little analogy here real quick. I'm sure most people out there are familiar with a certain ESPN game day announcer, Kirk Herbstreit. Okay, Kirk was an Ohio State alum, a quarterback for Ohio State. And I don't think there's a bigger fan of Ohio State football than Kirk Herbstreit. And, when he first started out on that gig on ESPN, I know a lot of the rabid Buckeye fans would get all bent out of shape whenever he wouldn't pick Ohio State to win every game, whenever he wouldn't, talk about Ohio State football and in a good manner about everything. They got all upset. And, Kirk he's doing his job, and likewise, I don't think you'll find four bigger Russia fans, for example, than us four in here. I know I'm a big Shelby County fan. I think all of us are here. We always love to see the Shelby County League do well, but we're gonna, if they do good, they do bad, we're gonna talk about it. And we just want to state our opinions, like you said, Ken. And like I said, we're not trying to put anybody down, that's for sure. But we want to talk about the good and the bad that happens week to week.
That's right. And that's what talk shows are all about.
Yeah.
One night you agree, one night you don't agree.
Yeah, another option, we could be like Joe Morgan and talk about ourselves the whole time.
That we won't do.
No, we won't. We don't want to do that. But speaking of fan feedback, we'll skip ahead to our next subject, Game Pass. And I did get a little fan feedback several weeks ago, guys, when we talked about the whole pay-to-play issue and whether athletes should pay to participate in high school sports. And I had one fan come up to me at a basketball game and said, "Hey, listen, I heard that. I heard what you had to say, and my opinion on it is no, athletes shouldn't pay at all." And I said, "That's great." He says, I even will go a little bit further, and I think you ought to ask your viewers out there what they think about this. He says, "I think if any fan out there pays a school district income tax, they shouldn't have to pay to get to any games at all, whether it's volleyball, basketball. If you pay school district income tax, you shouldn't have to pay for a ticket to get into the game." He said, "Ask your viewers." I'm not really going to ask your viewers, but I'll ask you three guys. What's your thoughts on that?
No, Craig, I can't agree with that because, it's an extracurricular activity. I think the income taxes and the school district income tax and different tax bases are they're really for the education of the kids and for the upkeep of the school systems, whether it's at Russia, Fort Laramie, Versailles, Minster, wherever you're at. And, no, to pay to get into an extracurricular activity, I think that needs to continue.
I'm going to take the socialist viewpoint on this. I think the best players should pay the most money.
There you go.
I don't know how well that's going to go over.
I was thinking about it, and I think we'll start off with just a small trial period, and we'll go with cross-country, baseball, and softball. We'll give free passes to all league games for cross-country, baseball, and softball. We'll see how that goes. If it works well, maybe we'll work in some of the
other.
golf.
Throw golf in there, too.
Well, yep, there you go. 4. We'll throw a bonus golf.
I like that
answer. That's not so bad.
Fair.
It's probably a good start. And I certainly don't have any problem paying for tickets to basketball or volleyball as well. As long as I don't get hit up with one more ultimate 50-50 contest, one more ball drop, split the pot, whatever else contest you want to come up with, I don't want to pay for any more of those. I'll pay $6, $7, make it $8. I'll pay that in ticket fees as long as I don't have to get any more of these contests. How about that? All right, well, let's move ahead and talk about the Russia D and really one of the hottest teams in the SCAL boys basketball league this year. Right now, actually, is the Russia Raiders. They got the longest winning streak of 5 games in a row. They're actually sitting at 10-2 right now. And one big reason, I think, certainly has to be the defense. And they played Ansonia here on Tuesday night, held them to 35 points. Played Botkins last Saturday night, held them to 28 points. And Russia coach Spencer Godonnier actually went so far as to say that it was the Botkins game was probably the best defensive effort he's ever seen. And us four in here, we've seen quite a few Russia games this season. I want to ask you guys: is the defense the biggest star on this team right now?
Absolutely, I think it is, Craig. They're getting well-balanced scoring, but they're getting phenomenal defense. They're hitting a lot of three-pointers right now, but those three-pointers are coming from 4 or 5 different players. Kids off the bench are contributing. So individually, I don't know who the star is, but definitely the star of this team is the Russia defense. They're led in the post by Josh York. He blocks a lot of shots. They're led on the perimeter by Trevor Mon, and he's super quick ultra-fast guard. And, the whole team, all 9, 10, 12 of them that play, they just bust their butts, Craig, on defense. Coach Codonier's got them playing extremely well. That's a tough team to score against.
Yeah, to me, I'm going to go back to the sixth man, and for me, the sixth man for the Raiders is Rudy Langenkamp, and when he carries that flag out in those tight shorts, that gets everybody wound up.
Well, you know what? I agree with Ken over there. Heavy D, I'll have to do some thinking on that one, but certainly the defense has they've done very well this year for him. And, I actually talked to Coach Codonier on Saturday night after that Bockets game. He's not taking credit for it. He says, Craig, I'll tell you what, we work on defense, but you know what? All that mentality on defense comes from last year. He says it comes from working with Coach Borchers on the JV team, and it comes from former Rushi coach Paul Bremagen. He said, we work on defense, but they learned that before I got here, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So, well, speaking of those Rushi Raiders, they do travel to Fairlawn on Friday night to take on the Fairlawn Jets, and of course their star over there, Nathan Lessing. And what this kid over there at Fairlawn has done, Nathan, is pretty amazing. I think they've played around 11 games so far this season, and 6 of those games, guys, he's scored 30 or more points, including the last 3 in a row. One of Nathan's, I guess one of his worst games happened to be the very first game of the season, game number 1, when he only scored 16 points against Rushi. I think that was his second worst performance, I guess you say, of the season. So, for the Raiders or for anyone else for that matter to beat Fairlawn, I'm guessing all you got to do is stop Nathan Lessing.
Well, Craig, definitely everything starts with Nathan Lessing. I mean, like you said, he's averaging 28 points a game. He's a phenomenal basketball player. But, I'm really looking forward to seeing Fairlawn Friday night. I'm not sure if the transfer will play Friday night or not, but he is eligible to play. And, I think he's going to be their point guard. It may take a little bit of the pressure off of Nathan Lessing, maybe move him to the 2-3 spot where he can post up, play a little more on the wing, not be so concerned about getting the ball off the floor. Fairlawn might be a little bit of a different team come Friday night. I think it'll be an interesting matchup for Rushi.
Yeah, I have to agree. It definitely starts with Lessing, but you can't ignore Bradigam in there. He's constantly around 10 points, and Hickman's on and off, but he'll throw in 10, 12 points every once in a while. So you can't ignore the rest of the team, but definitely if you hold Lessing down, you got a good handle on the Jets.
I definitely think they're going to be a different team than we saw the first game of the year. They're going to come out ready to play, and we better be ready to go.
Yeah, I think you mentioned Hickman, TK. I think he's one guy that as the season progresses, I think that guy's going to become more and more of a factor for Fairlawn over there. All right, guys, the last subject is rocket power, and maybe the biggest game that people were talking about in the Shelby County Athletic League last weekend was Anna's upset of Jackson Center. Jackson Center came into that game undefeated at 8-0. I think Anna was just 6-4 at the time. Anna got the win pretty convincingly, and I know at the beginning of the season, all of us in here kind of talked about Jackson Center, wanted to know how good they really were. What does this Anna victory over the Tigers tell us about Jackson Center?
Well, Craig, first of all, it didn't surprise me. I think Anna's a very good team. If we go back to one of our earlier shows before the league even started, they were one of my teams to watch and to beat, actually, in the Shelby County League. I think Anna got off to a slow start, but I think from an athletic standpoint, from a depth, from a size standpoint, they've got a really nice point guard. I think Anna's a great basketball team. I think what they did is they exposed Jackson Center's weakness, and that's depth. Everyone has known all year Jackson Center's got some very nice basketball players. They got 2 of the best basketball players in the Shelby County League, but they have no depth, and it'll be interesting to see what happens the second half of the season. But that win for the Anna Rockets did not surprise me.
Yeah, I have to agree with Ken. I don't think it tells you as much about Jackson as it does about Anna. Again, a great team. We saw them here at Rushi, very athletic across the board, but weren't playing as a team early on. They get to playing like a team like they did against Jackson, and it's going to be hard to stop them, anybody in the rest of the league as well as outside the league. So I think it tells you a little bit more about Anna and that they're starting to play like a team.
Yeah, Rushi beats Anna, Jackson beats Rushi, Anna beats Jackson. So we got a heck of a battle going on right now for the top of the SCL, and it's going to be interesting this second half of the season to see how that all shakes out.
That's for sure.
All right, guys, that's going to do it for our this week's Five for Fighting. If you agree or disagree with something we had to say, please let us hear about it, whether that is praise or criticism. We want to hear about it. Up on the screen, you can see our Twitter handle there, @FishReport. We'd love to hear from you, and we will acknowledge your tweet. All right, well, listen, that's going to do it for the first half of our show. We're going to take a quick break, but stay right there because when we come back, we're going to be talking to the head coach of the defending Division IV state champion Tri-Village Patriots, Coach Josh Sagester.
Open stage at the leaving van. Music starts at 8 o'clock. You can find us here every Wednesday night. It's usually the same cats every week, but I can't tell you all their names. Teacher, cat, and a junkie, all waiting for time to play. Everybody here's got something that we're trying to leave behind. We're all a little broken, looking for a place to hide. Get no answers, don't ask any questions. We're all here just looking for a high. And we're all beautifully broken here tonight.
All right, welcome back to the second half of Fish Report Live. And Ken, one conference we haven't talked about yet this season is in basketball is the Cross County Conference, in boys basketball in particular. We get our fair chance to see some of those teams during Russia season. We got to see Ansonia on Tuesday night, saw Covington a little earlier this season, got to see Arcanum a little earlier this season. But one school we haven't saw yet that we did get to see a lot of last year was the Tri-Village Patriots.
That's right, Craig. We did get a good chance to see Tri-Village twice last year, Craig. We had the honor of playing them at Flying to the Hoop, just a great venue in the middle of the season. We took on a very good Tri-Village team, and it was a great basketball game to start off that Saturday morning, if you'll remember. And Flying to the Hoop, I'm sure, would love to have those two teams back again this year if they had an opportunity. But then also got a chance to see them in the regionals, Craig. Like I said, Russia had a great team last year. Tri-Village, Craig, just outplayed us a couple times, and they had a very good team. And they lost a couple stars from that team, Craig. And but you know what? They've got a great point guard back, and more importantly, they've got the head coach back, and that's Josh Sagester.
Yeah, speaking of Coach Sagester, we're happy to have him live on the phone right now. Coach, welcome to Fish Report Live, and thanks for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Well, listen, it's been a while. The last time we had you on this show was actually 2 seasons ago, back in January of 2014. You were just getting set to take your team to the Final Four that year. Last year, of course, you won the first state championship in Tri-Village school history over there. And before we get into this season, Coach, just want to ask you a little bit about last year quickly, what that whole experience meant to Tri-Village, and was it celebrated well by the school and by your fans?
Absolutely. It was an unbelievable experience, not only for myself, but for our players and our community. As you well know, basketball has been very important to Tri-Village, and it continues to be. And it was nice to be able to snag that state title for players who have worn that Tri-Village jersey for many years.
All right, well, gone from that team were arguably your two best players in Colton Linkus and Damian Cook, but you have some talent back this year, including a new big man and 6'6" forward Trace Couch. Now, Trace is a junior, but he played at Eaton last year and then transferred to Tri-Village. Has Trace been able to step into the shoes of Colton or Damian, Coach, and pick up maybe where they left off last year?
Well, he's had a very good start to his junior year. Obviously a new system, new surroundings. He primarily was a face-up kid all through most of his career, and once we got him, we made him more of a back-to-basket kid. So, again, as you know, that takes a little bit of time, and that's a process. But he's fit in very nicely and has some attributes that we desperately needed this year, and he's done a very nice job, and he continues to get better every single day for us.
Coach, hi, this is Ken Francis, and it was very nice catching up with you. A couple weeks ago, I got a chance to talk to you during that Russia-Minster basketball game. Craig has mentioned Couch, but you've also got a couple experienced players back in point guard, senior Tyler Van Winkle, and junior guard Gavin Richards. Explain how these two kids have grown from that championship run last year and the importance of them for your team.
Well, they have. It's always nice to have, good guard play. Usually, you think you can be competitive on most nights with that. They've got some valuable big game experience, and Tyler, we call him basically just a winner. He does whatever we need to win basketball games, and that's really been his MO the last couple of seasons. This year we're asking him to score a little bit more for us and shoulder that burden, but he still is distributing and getting others involved and making them better and defending usually the team's best perimeter player night in, night out. And then Gavin, was a sophomore who did have some nice outings for us as the season progressed, and this year he's again shouldering the scoring burden. He's extremely athletic, left-handed, which sometimes is difficult to defend, and when he's making his perimeter shot, he's tough on most nights. So both those guys are we're leaning on them heavily, and they've had pretty good starts so far.
Coach, let's talk a little bit about the Southwest Regional in general. Last year, there was a lot of hype between Tri-Village, Russia, Marion Local, Jackson Center, Troy Christian, and even Cincinnati-Aiken. Well, when you look at those teams, Troy Christian lost a lot. Cincinnati-Aiken is now Division II. Marion Local is Division III. So a lot of teams are gone from that mix. What are you hearing this year? It appears to me a lot of balance, a lot of, just the whole region seems wide open right now. What have you seen?
It is. I would agree with you. I think what you have, you have some solid teams, and I think you've got some pretty good players. I don't know that I can sit here today and tell you that one or two are locks. Kind of like as you mentioned last year, I think there were 4 or 5 teams on any given night had a chance to get there, and fortunately we were able to do that. But this year it's going to be interesting. Come middle February, early March to see how things transpire. I think you've got your consistent programs that are going to be in the mix, but I think you've also got a couple possibilities that can sneak up on any night. So I don't know. We'll see how it plays out. I always say that you got to have a little bit of luck on day one, and that's the seeding and the draw, and sometimes things got to go your way because it's a game of matchups, and fortunately for us, we've had we've been able to have a good day on that day, and been able to get ourselves in a position to hopefully be successful. So we'll see what happens.
Coach, I know it's exciting to play in the big venues like UD Arena, Trent Arena, Value City Arena. But do you agree that you can't beat the atmosphere in a small gym, something like Russia still has or what Tri-Village has?
Oh, yeah, I agree with you 100%. I was just actually telling Dad the other day that, I love our gym, and I know I'm biased, but, and your gym as well. It just has that nice hometown feeling, and fans are on top of you along with student sections. And, yeah, I have a soft heart for our small gymnasiums, to be quite honest with you.
Hey, Coach, one more question. I'll let you go. But as many people know, you're also the superintendent over there at Tri-Village, and next year is the very exciting beginning of varsity football for your school. But, I've heard some fans in just our Shelby County community argue over the years that football may actually hurt a basketball program, whether it's injuries from the football season that carry over to basketball or just the fact that football takes away some of that focus from basketball. I wanted to get your opinion. Do you think football is going to hurt your program at all?
I don't subscribe to that philosophy. From a personal standpoint, I was a 3-sport athlete. I played baseball, football, and basketball, and was able to prioritize my time. I think at the high school level, kids have to prioritize their time, and I think coaches have to work together so kids can get to the multiple events, especially in the summer. Here at Tri-Village, I having been there 12 years, I think we have a system in place, and I think we'll continue to have basketball players, and I think it's going to make our kids more athletic, and I think it's going to make our kids stronger and hopefully more competitive as things go. So no, I'm not really. Again, I don't really subscribe to that philosophy. I think that's kind of like saying, "Oh, the weight room's going to hurt your shot." I know how much better of a player I became at the college level when weight room became more of our regimen, and that's just not something that everybody has their own belief, but I think it's actually going to help us, and we've got a lot of kids in our building that don't play basketball, and as you mentioned, as a superintendent, I've got to look out for the best interest of not only our players but all students and our community, and we're excited about getting some of these other kids some opportunities to enjoy what we're enjoying on Friday and Saturday nights as well.
Well, listen, Coach, I really appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to be on our show tonight. Best of luck to your Tri-Village Patriots, and I guess it'd be a good thing for both of us if I could say I hope to see you in the regionals at Trent Arena, a rematch between our Russia Raiders and your Tri-Village Patriots. I guess that'd be good for both of us, wouldn't it?
That would be outstanding, and I'll tell you, I'll take it.
Absolutely. Well, listen,
I will take it.
Good luck to you the rest of the season.
Thank you. You too.
Thanks, Coach.
Bye.
All right, that was the head coach of the Tri-Village Patriots, Coach Josh Sagester. And Ken, like you said, you did get a chance to talk to him a couple weeks ago, and he's a good guy, isn't he?
He is. Good guy, Craig. And like you said, we talked a lot about the Southwest Regional, and it's wide open this year. There's good teams from the Shelby County League. There's good teams from the CCC, of course, with Tri-Village. And the OHC, Craig, the Ohio Heritage Conference. A couple of very nice teams this year with Triad, Southeastern. And then the Walpock District, Craig, you got St. Henry up there, Minster. And then a team to watch out for up there, I think, is Lima Perry. I think Lima Perry's got a very nice team. And then the Cincinnati District, still the unknown. So, anyways, we discussed a lot of things, and the guy knows basketball. I'll tell you what, he is a basketball junkie. And you want to know anything about a basketball team in the Southwest District, he probably either knows about them or he's already scouted them halfway through the season.
All right, great stuff there. All right, Ken, well, listen, let's get one more thing to do, and that's to get back to our poll question that we asked at the beginning of the night. Why don't you tell our viewers what it was again, and we'll check with the guys on the Fish Report Telemetrics and see what we got from our viewers.
Well, speaking of the different teams and leagues there, which of the following has the best chance to represent the Southwest Regional in Columbus this year in boys basketball? Is it the Shelby County Athletic League, the CCC/OHC, the Walpock District, or the Cincinnati District? Sound Room, what's our viewers saying out there?
Well, I think our headliner interview tonight with the CCC coach brought in maybe some new viewers or some more active voters, because the CCC runs away with it. 71% say CCC/OHC, which I think probably leans towards the CCC. The rest, 29%, say Shelby County League. So
it was lighting up tonight, huh? The Fish Report Telemetrics were lighting up.
Well, that's good. That means we got a lot of viewers out there. So, but the Tri-Village got a great team, like I said, and don't throw out the OHC. Like I said, with Triad Southeastern this year, two pretty nice teams.
Well, guys, we got half of a season to go yet, half of a regular season, and we'll start talking some tournament basketball.
Absolutely. Can't wait, Craig. But it'll go fast.
It will. All right, that's going to do it for us tonight. I do want to say special thanks to our guest, Coach Sagester, for coming on the show tonight. Special thanks to the viewers out there also for tuning in. Ken and I and the crew will all be back again next week, same time, same place. Until then, have a great rest of the week, and good night, everyone.
Hanging at the Fish Report. 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 For your latest news in high school sports, tune in to the Fish Report. Don't need no bed, it don't mean no pull when you tune in to the Fish Report. Hanging at the Fish Report.